Hello, and thank you for joining me in your practice today. We'll start in a seated position, finding some length in the spine as we begin to roll the neck and head. Listening to our breath as we inhale and exhale, taking the neck and head around the spine several times in one direction and then in the other direction. Just finding the rhythm and the circling of the head on top of the spine. Next, we'll take a nice side stretch as we inhale and exhale to the right. Maybe finding our arm or elbow resting on the ground and inhaling as we carry on to the other side, feeling the length of the stretch on the opposite side of the body, and taking it back to our first side, just feeling it warm up and go a little deeper perhaps this time, and inhaling and exhaling over to the other side, coming upright, taking one wrist, one hand into the other and bringing it to your left hip. Just take some time to look left and tilt your head left, and just breathing into that shoulder and neck tightness perhaps, taking the hands over to the other hip and looking and leaning, just not forcing, just being present and aware of how your body is feeling at this moment. Taking both arms around to the right and placing your left hand on your right knee and your right hand around to the back, inhaling with a long spine and feeling the twist of the spine, taking it around to the other side, your hips and legs in a relaxed seated position, your upper body twisting behind you, finding length, and then find your way onto hands and knees and come to child's pose. Taking this moment to check in with your body and being more active as you consciously inhale and hold your breath and exhale and let it go in and out through the nose, creating heat in the back of the throat, activating your breath that will guide your body through this practice. Feeling some length in your hands, tip forward onto your wrists and back, making your way to your feet as you tuck your toes, and inhale, and on your next exhale maybe pushing back into downward facing dog. Just pedaling the feet, bending the knees, feeling the strength and the stretch in each of your fingers as you engage your hands, pressing palms and fingers down into the ground, spine to the sky, finding some stillness as you inhale and exhale in your downward dog. Begin walking your feet to your hands, taking a forward fold, grabbing perhaps your elbows in each other's hands and rocking gently back and forth like a rag doll. Feeling the length of your spine, where your neck is, your knees slightly bent perhaps. And then coming to our forward lunge, a nice low lunge with your right foot front. knee to the ground, left knee to the ground. Checking in that your right front knee is just over your ankle. Your hips are aligned. Pulling your right knee back in line with your left. And then with hands to the earth, straighten your front leg, and you may need to move it forward a little bit into your half split stretch. Your left knee now lined up under your hip. Lengthen the spine over the right leg as you lengthen and straighten that right leg. Now we're going to come into a half hero stretch. As you keep your left leg bent, bring your body back towards the earth. Right leg stays extended, feeling the hips even and falling to the floor, to the earth. As you inhale and exhale, each time feeling gravity assist you in stretching. Maybe only going halfway or recovering this posture if there's any pain in the knee or injury. Otherwise, slowly making your way back up to seated. And folding over your right leg for a hamstring stretch. Perhaps lengthening your left leg behind you a bit. Finding length in your spine. Maybe a micro bend in the knee. Or maybe you find more length in the spine. As you inhale, just take time to let this stretch work. And then when you're ready, return to downward facing dog. Feeling if your right side feels different than your left, or if this downward dog feels different than earlier. And bringing your knees to the earth into child's pose. Just exhale and inhale. Take a few breaths here. Just to be still. Letting all the work and the movement soak in. And when you're ready, come back to downward dog. Inhaling and exhaling, preparing to flow on the other side now. When you're ready, walk your feet up to your hands into our forward fold. And this time maybe you shake your head yes or no. Grab your wrists or your elbows so you feel the length, perhaps less of a bend in your knees, more balance, stability. And then taking our low lunge, this time with our left leg front, sliding our right leg back, checking in to make sure our left knee is over our left ankle. Our hips are lined up together, that left hip pulling around the corner, hugging back in to the balance. And then extending our front leg into our half splits, flexing the left foot, feeling a stretch. So we try to remember to lengthen our spine over our leg. Feeling longer and stronger. And then sitting back into our half hero, making small adjustments with your seat or your mat, checking in on this side, and then coming back to what feels most comfortable in your body, whether it's halfway back or to remain seated or come all the way to the earth. Feeling your hips level on the earth, gravity doing the work as you inhale and exhale. Letting time work this pose. Finding peace in this active yet passive stretch. And then on your next inhale and exhale, come back up to seated and fold over your front leg into a hamstring stretch. Perhaps extending your right leg backward, feeling the length in the leg and the spine. And I like to wiggle my toes, rub my feet, give them some appreciation, make sure they're still working good, checking in with my body. And then coming on to all fours, finding a neutral spine, balanced before cat and cowing a bit, dropping your belly to the earth and looking up, and then reversing as you look to the navel, and just several times inhaling and exhaling, feeling the curve of your spine, incorporating your shoulders and your hips, and moving slowly, feeling each vertebrae working and finding space and breath. And then coming neutral, take your left arm and thread it through to the right side, resting on the earth. Threading the arm like a needle through to feel a little bit of that spinal twist and stretch. And another active yet passive pose, and taking it over to the other side, threading the needle through to the left. Inhaling, breathing, releasing anything that's tight. And returning to all fours, we're going to bring our right leg forward into a half pigeon, making adjustments so that your knee is outside of your hips. Perhaps your foot is flexed, the front of the leg coming forward, lengthening your spine before melting down to the ground to your sleeping pigeon. Sending breath to tightness in the hip, feeling if there's any gripping and trying to release that with your exhale. Adding breath actively to calm this pose if it's stressful. Coming up or easing out of it if it's too much. Now bending your left leg, keeping your front leg where it is, you're going to twist to the right side and maybe look backward, and as you exhale, come down to your elbows perhaps as they're parallel behind you in a deer twist. Feeling the length of your left side, the length of the spine, and then returning to seated, bringing the bottoms of your feet together for a butterfly pose. and stretch. Just feeling your sits bones on the earth, nice straight spine, gaining some breath here, and resting forward, maybe using your elbows to press down on your legs to increase the stretch, keeping the spine active, letting the warmth of that pigeon and deer twist take action. And now taking the twist on your left side, left leg front, right leg bent behind you, and turning, twisting towards your left side, around your front leg, facing the back perhaps now, exhaling your elbows to the earth, feeling the length in the right side of the body and the spine. Inhaling length, exhaling as you twist. And returning upward, finding your half pigeon on the left side, finding the length, the even in the hips before coming down to the earth through your elbows, sleeping pigeon. Maybe your forehead is on the earth and you can slowly rock the third eye back and forth on the ground and massaging the head there, feeling some groundedness, using your breath, and then coming up and returning to a downward dog when you're ready. Noticing this downward dog, maybe feeling empowered, strengthened, warm. And when you're ready, bring your knees to the earth and come back to child's pose. Just releasing into this passive posture now. Being thankful for all the work that you've done, that your body is capable of. Maybe the tingling sensation of using and working the muscles in a happy, healthy way. And then when you're ready, make your way down to the back, your back to the earth, bringing your knees in, hugging your legs, rocking gently back and forth, perhaps reaching up to your feet, coming to a happy baby. Feeling that long spine resting on the earth as you're opening your hips, maybe extending one leg or the other, maybe rocking back and forth, bringing each knee to the earth. Finding a release, a warmth, a breath. And then if you have a prop or a block or a roller, reaching for that, bringing it underneath your hips as you lift to a supported bridge. Maybe lifting your arms up overhead and feeling the release in your shoulders, in your thoracic. Perhaps a warmth where your body is making contact with that prop. A massage of sorts as you're just letting gravity and weight release the front of the hips and the body. your hips slightly to remove your prop and melt your spine down to the ground and lengthen your legs and make small adjustments to get comfortable into Shavasana. Legs and feet slightly wider than the hips, released into your rotation, palms up, arms relaxed and lengthened at your sides. Just take a moment to notice if there are any thoughts. You just release them, let them float by. Find a stillness in your mind. Release any chatter. Start to wiggle your fingers or toes as you return your breath and your mind. Stay here maybe, if that's in your practice. Perhaps come to your side to a child's pose and slowly come back to a seated position. And bring your palms, prayer hands to heart. Just take a moment to be grateful the way that I am grateful for you.